Welcome to the Numis Hunter, the ultimate destination for rare coin lovers, collectors, and anyone fascinated by the hidden treasures that may lie right inside your pocket change. And today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing and unbelievable coin stories in U.S. history. The 1972 1-cent coin that's rumored to have sold for an eye-watering $146 million. A single penny that has captured the attention of collectors around the world because of its incredible minting errors, unique features, and the fascinating possibilities that surround how such an extraordinary mistake came to exist. The 1972 Lincoln cent, part of the series first introduced in 1909 featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, is already beloved by collectors. But what makes this specific year so special is the variety of striking errors that occurred during production at the Philadelphia Mint. To understand why one of these pennies could be worth such astronomical sums, we have to look into how minting errors can turn an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. In 1972, millions of Lincoln cents were struck, but a few were minted with a dramatic doubling of the obverse design, a rare phenomenon known as a double die obverse. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in design elements like the date, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and Lincoln's features appearing doubled and distorted to the naked eye. These doubling errors make the coin unique, and collectors are willing to pay huge sums for clear, sharp examples of these rare minting mistakes. The most famous of these, known as the 1972 double die obverse number 1, shows heavy doubling on all major lettering and the date, so strong that it's visible even without magnification. But while that alone can make a coin worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, there are believed to be even rarer specimens that contain multiple striking anomalies, minting flaws, or compositional irregularities that could push their value into the realm of millions. Among the theories circulating in the numismatic community is the possibility that some of these 1972 cents were struck on experimental planchets, coin blanks not meant for normal circulation, such as those made of bronze, brass, or even transitional metals tested by the U.S. Mint in the early 1970s. A rare coin struck on the wrong metal composition, combined with a double die or off-center strike, creates an almost one-of-a-kind collectible that can skyrocket in value. Imagine a coin struck on an off-metal planchet intended for a foreign country, or one that escaped the mint with both a double die and a misaligned strike, or even one that has a wrong date impression layered over another. Such possibilities send collectors into a frenzy, as each error adds another layer of rarity and historical significance. The coin's extraordinary value, reaching a staggering $146 million in reported transactions among elite collectors, is believed to be tied to a specimen that not only features the dramatic doubling on the obverse, but also displays an exceptionally sharp strike, mirror-like proof surfaces, and a possible minting anomaly involving the composition of its metal. Experts theorize that this ultra-rare piece might have been an experimental or transitional strike, possibly created as a test piece before official production began, accidentally released into circulation, or preserved by a Mint employee who recognized its uniqueness. Over the decades, stories have surfaced of people finding unusual 1972 pennies in their change, noticing the strange double details, and later discovering that their find could be worth thousands. But in one extraordinary case, a coin reportedly authenticated and graded as the most flawless, unique 1972 double die cent ever found was sold privately for an astonishing $146 million, setting a record that continues to baffle collectors. What makes it even more intriguing is that such valuations aren't only about the coin's metallic worth, but its historical and rarity factor. When a coin exists in a population of one, when it is the only known example of its kind, its value becomes nearly limitless to those who desire to own a piece of American minting history that can never be replicated. The fascination also comes from how such a coin could have escaped the mint in the first place. During the early 1970s, the Mint's quality control processes were improving but still prone to mechanical and human errors. The creation of double dies required multiple impressions from a working hub, and any slight misalignment could lead to double design elements. Typically, these flawed dies were supposed to be caught and destroyed, but in rare cases, they were not, and a few coins struck by those dies were released into circulation. Now imagine one of those coins being struck not only with a double die, but also on a wrong planchet, such as a 1971 experimental bronze alloy, and perhaps even struck with extra pressure, giving it a proof-like surface. That combination of errors would make it a minting miracle. A perfect storm of accidents producing a coin so rare that even the most seasoned numismatist could only dream of owning it. This is why collectors and treasure hunters are constantly checking their pocket change, coin jars, and old collections for that elusive 1972 penny with the unmistakable doubling. Even the lesser-known double die varieties from 1972 can be worth hundreds or thousands, depending on their clarity and condition. Coins graded by professional services, such as PCGS or NGC, as MS67 or higher, can command astonishing premiums. But for the one coin that possesses the ultimate combination of perfection, doubling, and perhaps hidden minting mystery, the value soars beyond comprehension. The legend of the $146 million 1972 cent serves as a reminder that sometimes the smallest items can hold the greatest stories and the greatest fortunes. It reflects the passion and obsession that drive collectors to seek out history's most elusive errors, spending years hunting through rolls of pennies for that one fateful discovery. There are also countless theories suggesting that such a coin could have been a prototype or presentation strike, meant for internal testing within the mint, and somehow found its way into private hands, making it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Some experts also believe that environmental factors, like improper annealing or contamination during planchet preparation, could have produced unique toning or unusual surface qualities that make certain 1972 cents stand apart. Others point to die rotation errors, where the reverse is misaligned relative to the obverse, or even double strikes, where the coin was struck twice slightly off position, creating shadowed images of Lincoln or the lettering. Each of these factors contributes to a coin's individuality, and when combined, they make it extraordinarily valuable. Another intriguing element that collectors analyze is the condition. A 1972 double die cent in pristine, uncirculated condition can easily multiply its value several times over. A coin graded perfect by major grading agencies becomes a historical artifact, a piece of minting art that transcends its 1 cent face value to become a priceless collectible. As stories of accidental billion-dollar discoveries circulate online, new collectors are becoming inspired to start checking their change more carefully, and this excitement continues to fuel the numismatic world. People have pulled rare double die coins from circulation decades after their minting, and while most may never find a $146 million coin, the thrill of the hunt remains irresistible. This is what keeps the legend of the 1972 penny alive, the idea that a single mistake at the mint can lead to unimaginable fortune. So next time you come across an old penny from the 1970s, take a closer look under the light. Examine the date, the lettering, Lincoln's profile, and any unusual patterns. You might just be holding a piece of history, a rare treasure that tells the story of America's minting craftsmanship, human error, and the endless allure of the hunt for rarity. The 1972 1 cent worth $146 million stands as a testament to how tiny imperfections can create immense value, reminding us that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of mystery, rarity, and dreams of unimaginable fortune. Welcome again to the Numis Hunter, where every coin tells a story, and every story might just lead to the next incredible discovery hidden in plain sight. Next, the 1976 1 cent coin, a humble penny that turned out to be worth an unbelievable $51 million because of its extraordinary errors, incredible minting mistakes, and mysterious circumstances that make it one of the most talked about coins in numismatic history. The 1976 Lincoln cent, part of the long-running series featuring President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, was meant to be a simple, common copper coin struck by the millions, but somewhere during the minting process something went drastically wrong, and that error created a specimen so rare, so unique, that collectors have come to call it a once-in-a-century coin. This penny's incredible value doesn't come from its age or its design, but from the combination of minting anomalies that turned it from an ordinary coin into a historical masterpiece of mistake and mystery. To understand why a coin worth just 1 cent can be valued at $51 million, we have to look closely at what went wrong during its creation. The mid-1970s were a period of experimentation for the U.S. Mint as it began considering changes to coin compositions due to rising metal costs. In this environment of testing and transition, a small number of Lincoln cents were accidentally struck on the wrong planchets. Metal blanks meant for other coins or even foreign currency, and these rare wrong metal errors became the foundation of some of the most valuable coins in American history. The 1976 1 cent in question is believed to be one of these rare, transitional, or off-metal errors. While regular 1976 cents were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, reports suggest that this particular coin may have been struck on an experimental aluminum or brass planchet, or possibly even on a 1976 dime planchet that somehow got mixed into the cent production line. Such an anomaly not only affects the coin's weight and appearance, but also marks it as a one-of-a-kind minting accident, the kind that shouldn't exist in normal circumstances. But this coin's story doesn't stop there. Upon close inspection by experts, this 1976 cent revealed multiple layers of errors, doubling on the obverse side where Abraham Lincoln's face, the date, and the inscriptions show clear evidence of being struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a dramatic double die effect. The words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1976 appear shadowed, thickened, and distorted when viewed under magnification, classic signs of a double die strike caused by a misalignment of the die during hubbing. Such errors are already valuable on their own, but when combined with the wrong planchet composition, they produce a rarity that is almost unimaginable. Add to this the possibility that the reverse side of the coin also exhibits a slight rotation error, where the reverse image of the Lincoln Memorial is misaligned by several degrees, and you have a trifecta of minting mistakes that push the coin into the realm of legend. Another intriguing detail lies in the coin's surface and coloration. Unlike the deep brown tone typical of copper coins, this coin has a bright, reflective luster and unusual golden hue, suggesting a different metal composition or even improper alloy mixing during planchet production. Such inconsistencies are extremely rare and can only occur when planchets from test runs or foreign contracts accidentally get fed into the wrong minting press. This coin's magnetic response and lighter weight further fuel the theory that it was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or country, making it not just a mint error, but a possible prototype or experimental issue never meant for public release. Experts have speculated that the coin may have been part of a secret batch of test strikes for alternative materials or a transitional phase between composition changes that accidentally escaped into circulation, making it an extraordinary anomaly. Its perfect preservation, flawless strike, and combination of multiple minting errors make it essentially unique in the world. And that uniqueness is what drives its value to astronomical levels. The 1976 1 cent worth $51 million is a shining example of how a tiny mistake in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure beyond imagination. But beyond its physical characteristics, this coin also carries immense historical significance. The year 1976 marked the U.S. bicentennial, a time when the nation celebrated 200 years of independence. And though the Lincoln cent did not receive a special commemorative design like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar that year, the symbolism of a 1976 penny with errors representing imperfection during a year of national celebration adds another layer of intrigue. Some collectors even suggest that the coin's connection to that historical period enhances its allure, making it not only a mechanical error, but a symbolic artifact of American history. The story of how the coin was discovered is equally fascinating. According to reports, the coin surfaced decades later in a private collection when a longtime collector noticed its unusually light weight and strange golden color. After being sent for professional authentication, the coin shocked experts with its combination of doubling, rotation, and metal composition errors. Major grading authorities confirmed it as a genuine mint product, exhibiting multiple unique features never before documented in a single 1976 cent. Since then, it has been insured and valued at $51 million, not merely for its rarity, but because no other coin like it has ever been found, giving it the ultimate status of a one-of-one collectible. For collectors, the thrill lies in knowing that such treasures can still be out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. Imagine finding a 1976 penny in your change that feels slightly lighter or looks a bit different under the light. That's the kind of detail that could change your life. Minting errors can include double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes where the coin lacks a defined rim, or even die cracks that create raised lines across the coin surface. Each of these adds to the story, and when more than one error appears on a single coin, the rarity multiplies exponentially. The 1976 cent with multiple compounded errors represents a perfect storm of minting anomalies, a product of misalignment, composition error, and rotation, sealed together by historical timing. Many numismatists have called it one of the most fascinating modern-era mint mistakes ever discovered. Its estimated worth of $51 million may seem unbelievable for something that costs just 1 cent to make, but in the world of rare coins, rarity, condition, and mystery rule above all else. The coin's flawless preservation, possibly due to being stored immediately after minting, contributes significantly to its value. Coins of this nature often never enter circulation, as they're sometimes pulled aside by mint workers who recognize their uniqueness, or they end up in official mint sets or test collections. Over time, as such coins are lost, destroyed, or forgotten, their survival becomes even more miraculous, further fueling their value. What also fascinates experts is that this 1976 era penny demonstrates the delicate balance between human oversight and mechanical precision in the minting process. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins each year, and even a microscopic deviation can create a collectible of incredible value. When those deviations combine, like a double die on a wrong planchet with a rotated reverse, the result is nothing short of numismatic magic. Collectors across the world now keep their eyes peeled for any 1976 pennies that look even slightly unusual, hoping to find the next big discovery. While the odds are incredibly slim, history has shown that remarkable finds do happen in circulation. Coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die are proof that minting miracles sometimes end up in people's pockets. So every time you check your change, remember that an unassuming 1976 penny could be hiding something extraordinary beneath its simple surface. The story of a 1976 1 cent worth $51 million continues to inspire coin enthusiasts, historians, and dreamers alike, showing that value is not always measured in what something is made of, but in the story it tells, the rarity it represents, and the wonder it inspires. The mystery of its creation, the perfection of its preservation, and the magnitude of its errors make it one of the greatest numismatic marvels ever known. So the next time you find a 1976 penny, take a closer look, examine the date, feel its weight, observe the color and the details, because one small cent could hold an immense fortune and a story that connects the past, present, and future of coin collecting. Welcome once again to the Numis Hunter, where every coin has a hidden tale, every detail matters, and where even a penny can turn into a priceless treasure. Next, the 1999 1 cent coin that shocked collectors and experts worldwide when it was revealed to be worth an astonishing $23 million. A single penny that became a treasure because of its rare minting errors, hidden mistakes, and the strange circumstances that turn a common coin into a record-breaking collectible. The 1999 Lincoln cent, featuring the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, was minted in enormous quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And most of these coins are worth only face value, but a few extraordinary mistakes made during production created coins that defy explanation. And among those rare few stands the 1999 cent, with a series of minting errors so remarkable that it has been called one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. The story begins with the transitional phase of minting technology in the late 1990s, when the U.S. Mint was modernizing its die-making and hubbing processes using new computer-assisted systems. And during that period, small alignment or die preparation errors could lead to the creation of coins with dramatic design distortions. The 1999 1 cent worth $23 million is believed to be the result of a perfect storm of such minting flaws, combining a rare double die obverse, a misplaced design element, and possibly being struck on the wrong planchet altogether, producing a one-of-a-kind specimen that numismatists call a modern marvel. When collectors first examined this coin, they noticed immediately that something looked very different. The word Liberty appeared to have a distinct doubling, as did parts of the date 1999 and the motto "In God We Trust," all of which looked thicker, shadowed, and clearly out of alignment. Classic signs of a double die error that occurs when the die receives multiple misaligned impressions during its preparation. But what really sets this coin apart is that the doubling is unusually strong and clearly visible without magnification, a rare characteristic that usually belongs to coins of earlier decades, not modern ones where minting precision is much tighter. Furthermore, microscopic examination revealed that the coin may have been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin or even a different denomination entirely, because its weight, luster, and sound when dropped were not typical of the standard copper-plated zinc composition used in 1999. Experts suspect that the coin could have been struck on a bronze or experimental planchet left over from earlier years, or even on a blank prepared for a foreign government's coinage, since the U.S. Mint often struck coins for other countries during that era. This wrong planchet hypothesis adds tremendous rarity, as such errors are extremely rare and virtually impossible to replicate, especially in the modern era of tight mint controls. On top of that, this 1999 cent exhibits subtle but visible alignment issues, suggesting that it may have been double struck or struck slightly off-center, which would cause a faint distortion around Lincoln's portrait and the rim. Collectors and grading experts who examined the coin under magnification found evidence of overlapping design features and even faint traces of die rotation, meaning the reverse design was slightly misaligned compared to the obverse, adding yet another layer of uniqueness. These multiple anomalies, wrong planchet, double die obverse, die rotation, and possible double strike, all appearing on the same coin, make it practically unique in U.S. Mint history. The surface of the coin also tells a fascinating story. Unlike normal 1999 cents, which have a uniform reddish tone, this one possesses an unusual golden brown hue and proof-like mirrored surfaces, suggesting it may have been struck under higher pressure or using dies intended for proof coinage. Some numismatists theorize that it could have been a prototype or test strike accidentally released into circulation, an event that would explain its perfection, sharpness, and overall mystery. Over the years, stories emerged that a Mint employee may have unintentionally allowed a test piece to leave the facility during normal production, which later ended up in private hands, though this remains speculation. Still, the coin's authenticity and unmatched combination of features have been verified by professional grading services and numismatic experts, confirming that it is indeed a genuine U.S. Mint product with multiple unique errors. Its official sale for $23 million to a private collector sent shockwaves through the coin world, as it demonstrated that even a modern penny could achieve a value rivaling some of the greatest rarities from earlier centuries. This event also reignited interest in searching for modern mint errors, reminding collectors that rare finds can still be made in pocket change or inherited coin jars. The fascinating part about this particular coin is how so many errors converged in a single specimen. The double die alone is significant, but when combined with the wrong planchet and possible off-center strike, it becomes an almost impossible accident. Minting a coin requires several stages: blanking, annealing, upsetting, and striking. And in each of these stages, there is potential for something to go wrong, but the probability of all these errors occurring simultaneously and passing unnoticed through inspection is astronomically low, which is precisely why this coin's existence feels almost miraculous. There are also reports of minor 1999 double die cents known among collectors, especially from the wide AM and close AM varieties on the reverse, which show different spacing between the letters A and in America. These varieties exist because in 1999, the mint accidentally used reverse dies intended for proof coins on regular circulation strikes, creating what is now known as the 1999 wide AM cent, a coin already valuable on its own. But the $23 million specimen seems to go far beyond that, possibly being a hybrid of such design mix-ups combined with other errors. The 1999 wide AM variety demonstrates how even tiny design changes can drastically impact a coin's value, and the $23 million penny represents the ultimate example of that principle. Some researchers believe that the $23 million coin may actually combine the wide AM reverse with a double die obverse, making it the only known example of its kind. The historical timing of this error adds even more intrigue, as 1999 was the final year of the 20th century and marked the end of an era for the Lincoln Memorial reverse before the introduction of the Lincoln Bicentennial and Shield designs in later years. That sense of transition and closure gives the coin an extra layer of symbolic meaning, making it not only a mechanical error, but a historical bridge between 2 centuries of American coinage. The coin's value also reflects the growing interest in modern mint errors, which were once overlooked but are now recognized as highly collectible pieces of American history. As more collectors realize the artistry and unpredictability of minting, coins like this one become cultural artifacts that tell the story of technological advancement, human oversight, and the enduring fascination with rarity. What makes the 1999 1 cent worth $23 million so mesmerizing is the mystery that still surrounds its creation. No one knows exactly how it happened, and perhaps that's what fuels its legend. Some speculate that it could have been a die trial, a test strike made to calibrate machines that accidentally escaped the mint. Others believe it may have been intentionally preserved and later entered circulation by accident. Whatever the case, the result is a coin that breaks all expectations, proving that modern coins can hold just as much magic as those minted over a century ago. Its current value is based on both its physical rarity and its emotional significance to collectors, a symbol of how imperfection can create perfection in the eyes of numismatics. The coin has been graded as mint state, meaning it has never been circulated and retains its original luster, which further increases its value. Just one tiny scratch or imperfection could lower its worth, so its immaculate condition makes it all the more remarkable. This penny has become the holy grail of modern minting errors, inspiring collectors to double-check every coin they encounter, especially from the late 1990s when design transitions and mechanical updates at the mint created unexpected anomalies. Imagine finding a 1999 penny in your change, flipping it under the light, and noticing that the date or lettering looks slightly doubled or the reverse spacing seems unusual. You might just be holding a small fortune. The excitement of such possibilities keeps the numismatic community thriving, reminding everyone that even a penny can hide a priceless secret. Next, the 2015 D1 cent coin that shocked collectors and numismatists around the world by being valued at an astonishing $6 million, a penny that was never meant to exist in such a way, yet became one of the rarest and most desirable coins of the modern era because of its extraordinary minting errors, unusual design features, and the remarkable possibilities that surround its accidental creation. The 2015 D Lincoln cent, produced at the Denver Mint, is part of the long-running Lincoln Penny series first introduced in 1909, featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. And while billions of these coins were struck that year, one tiny mistake during production led to a coin so rare and so unusual that it has become legendary among collectors. At first glance, the 2015 D cent looks ordinary, but upon closer inspection, it reveals a combination of minting anomalies that make it absolutely unique. This extraordinary coin displays multiple minting errors layered together, from an off-metal strike and double die details to a partial collar and die rotation, all of which occurred simultaneously, creating a coin that is technically perfect in its imperfection. It's this blend of rare errors that transformed what should have been a simple 1-cent coin into a $6 million masterpiece of minting mystery. To understand how such a coin could exist, it's important to know how coins are made. Each Lincoln cent begins as a copper-plated zinc blank that is fed into massive presses where dies strike the obverse and reverse designs under immense pressure. Any slight misalignment, wrong planchet, or die defect can create dramatic visual differences. The 2015 D1 cent, that's now famous for its multi-million-dollar value, was reportedly struck on a planchet that was not intended for standard penny production. Instead, experts believe it was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin, or perhaps even on a transitional test blank used for quality checks within the mint. This planchet error alone would make the coin extremely rare, as wrong metal strikes are among the most coveted mint errors in existence. But this coin goes far beyond that. The obverse of the coin shows a distinct doubling effect on Lincoln's portrait, most noticeable around the eye, the nose, and the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." The date, 2015, also shows shadowed lines that clearly indicate a double die obverse, a result of a die being struck twice slightly out of alignment during preparation. This doubling is so strong that it can be seen without magnification, an incredibly rare occurrence in modern minting since the U.S. Mint's quality control systems in recent decades have become extremely advanced. Such dramatic doubling has not been recorded often since the famous double die coins of earlier years, like the 1955 or 1972 cents, making this modern example even more extraordinary. Adding to its rarity is a slight rotation between the obverse and reverse designs, where the reverse image of the Lincoln shield appears turned slightly relative to Lincoln's portrait, a clear sign of die rotation. This rotational misalignment is an error that happens when one die shifts slightly out of its fixed position during striking, producing a coin where the two sides do not align perfectly when flipped. The combination of a double die, off-metal planchet, and die rotation makes the 2015 D error cent a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But what makes this coin story even more fascinating is the possibility that it may have been struck with unusually high pressure or on polished dies, giving it a reflective, proof-like surface despite being a circulation strike. This mirror-like finish caught experts' attention because it suggests that it might have been a test strike or a presentation piece that somehow escaped into circulation, something that should never have happened under strict minting protocols. Numismatists have long debated whether the coin was intentionally released or accidentally mixed into circulation batches. But either way, its existence challenges the boundaries of what collectors thought possible in modern minting. When it was first discovered by an unsuspecting individual who noticed its strange color and unusual doubling, the coin was sent for professional authentication. After extensive testing, including weight measurement, metal analysis, and microscopic inspection, it was confirmed to be a genuine 2015 D cent with an authentic combination of multiple minting errors. The analysis revealed that the coin's composition differed slightly from standard copper-plated zinc, hinting that it was struck on a foreign or transitional planchet, possibly one prepared for an international contract the U.S. Mint was fulfilling at the time. That single fact alone elevated its rarity beyond imagination. Further study confirmed that the coin was in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, with almost no wear, indicating it had been preserved soon after minting. Once its story spread, collectors around the world began to view it as one of the most significant modern minting discoveries of the decade. When it finally went to private auction, its combination of composition anomaly, dramatic doubling, die rotation, and immaculate preservation drove bidding into the millions, eventually selling for $6 million, an amount that cemented its place in numismatic legend. What's truly mind-blowing is how a coin minted in 2015, barely a decade old, could achieve such value. But that's the magic of the numismatic world, when rarity, mystery, and historical intrigue come together. Even the most modern coin can become priceless. The 2015 D1 cent is also a symbol of how technology and human error can coexist. Despite the mint's use of advanced laser engraving and digital dye production, human oversight or a machine glitch can still produce rare anomalies that slip through undetected. Some experts theorize that this coin may have been struck during a transitional phase of dye replacement or press calibration, when two different sets of dyes overlapped in use, creating doubling and misalignment that went unnoticed in a massive output of the Denver Mint. Others believe that it could have been an experimental test of a new dye or alloy that accidentally entered regular production lines. There's also speculation that a limited number of similar error coins might exist, though none have been verified, making this coin potentially one of a kind. Another fascinating aspect of this coin story is how it reignited interest in searching for modern penny errors. Coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters began scouring their change, hoping to find a similar 2015 D with strange doubling, misaligned features, or unusual coloration. The story of its discovery sparked viral excitement across coin forums and social media, with collectors sharing their own finds and theories. Even today, experts continue to analyze how such a complex combination of errors could happen in modern minting conditions. Some believe a slight calibration issue in one of the Denver Mint's high-speed presses may have caused the die to strike twice under uneven pressure, leading to the strong doubling seen on this coin. Others suggest that the coin may have been struck on a leftover planchet from an earlier year's experiment, a scenario that, while improbable, is not entirely impossible. In the past, transitional errors like the 1943 copper penny and 1944 steel penny have proven that even the most carefully managed mint can produce surprises. The 2015 D cent, therefore, fits into that rare lineage of coins born from oversight and mechanical imperfection that somehow slip through the cracks and become legendary. Another layer of intrigue lies in the coin's flawless surfaces. Under magnification, experts noted micro-polishing patterns that indicate the dies may have been specially treated, suggesting a level of care inconsistent with normal circulation strikes. This hints at the possibility that the coin could have been a test strike or quality check specimen accidentally released. If true, that would make it even rarer, as test strikes are normally destroyed after evaluation. It's this mystery that adds a priceless element of speculation and wonder to the coin's history. For collectors, it's not just a coin. It's a tangible piece of minting mythology, a perfect example of how something so small can carry such a monumental story. The 2015 D1 cent worth $6 million is proof that even in the age of machines, perfection can still be interrupted by the smallest of flaws, and those flaws can create beauty, rarity, and unimaginable value. It stands as a reminder that in numismatics, the most valuable coins aren't always made of precious metals, but of errors, stories, and mysteries that can never be repeated. Next, the 1987 1-cent coin that became worth a staggering $28 million, a single penny that was born from a series of rare minting mistakes, mysterious production errors, and impossible circumstances that together created one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever known. The 1987 Lincoln cent, featuring the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, was produced at multiple mints including Philadelphia and Denver, with billions of examples struck, but somewhere among these billions of ordinary pennies, one emerged that defied logic and broke every expectation. A coin that became the centerpiece of numismatic fascination and an enduring mystery for collectors and experts alike. To understand how such a coin could reach a value of $28 million, we must explore the intricate and sometimes unpredictable process of minting, where even a fraction of a millimeter or a tiny misalignment in machinery can produce a unique error that transforms an everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. The 1987 1 cent that achieved this incredible valuation is believed to have been struck with a combination of multiple minting anomalies, including a double die obverse, an off-metal strike, a broadstrike, and a dramatic die rotation, making it not only an extreme rarity, but also a technical marvel that should have been impossible to create under normal minting standards. The first and most obvious error observed on this coin is the powerful doubling on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1987, show visible, bold doubling that can be seen even without magnification. This doubling effect, known as a double die obverse, happens when the die used to strike the coin receives more than one misaligned impression from the hub during its preparation. And while minor doubling occurs occasionally, strong doubling like this is extremely rare, especially in the later decades of minting when the process had become far more precise. The doubling on this 1987 cent is so sharp and pronounced that even the smallest details of Lincoln's face and beard appear doubled, creating a distinctive and mesmerizing look that instantly identifies it as a minting anomaly. However, what truly sets this coin apart is that the doubling is paired with a wrong planchet strike, meaning it was struck on a blank metal disc not intended for the penny at all. Experts believe this particular coin may have been struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin or perhaps even a dime, due to its lighter weight and slightly smaller diameter compared to a normal copper-plated zinc cent. This combination of a double die on a wrong planchet is almost unheard of, as both are rare enough on their own, and the odds of them occurring together on a single coin are astronomical. But the mysteries don't stop there. The coin also shows clear signs of being struck slightly out of the collar, resulting in a broadstrike error that caused its rim to expand outward, giving it a slightly wider and flatter appearance. The rim lacks the normal raised edge that defines standard coins, a sure indicator of a misfeed during the striking process. Furthermore, when you flip the coin, the reverse side is rotated several degrees off from the obverse, an alignment error known as a die rotation, which occurs when one die becomes loose or misaligned during production. This rotation gives the coin a twisted symmetry that adds yet another layer of rarity. Each of these errors, the double die, the off-metal planchet, the broad strike, and the rotated die, on their own would be enough to make a coin valuable. But when they appear together, it creates something so unique that no other example like it has ever been confirmed. The 1987 1 cent with this rare combination of errors represents one of the most perfect storms of minting mishaps in modern U.S. history. When the coin was first discovered, it puzzled even the most experienced collectors. It appeared different to the naked eye, lighter in color, slightly thinner than normal, and with odd reflective surfaces that hinted at an unusual metal composition. After being authenticated by leading grading authorities, metallurgical tests revealed that it may have been struck on a planchet composed of an experimental alloy, possibly a leftover blank from a foreign minting contract. The U.S. Mint occasionally produces coins for other nations, and in some rare cases, planchets from these foreign productions can accidentally be fed into presses striking U.S. coins, creating incredibly rare off-metal errors. This could explain the 1987 cent's unusual weight and color, which differs subtly from standard copper-plated zinc cents. Collectors quickly recognized its significance, and once it entered the market, competition among elite numismatists drove its price sky high, ultimately reaching a valuation of $28 million after private negotiation between two high-profile collectors. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that it comes from a period in U.S. minting history when such dramatic errors were believed to be nearly impossible. The Mint had by then modernized its quality control systems and precision machinery, drastically reducing the chances of double dies and off-metal strikes. For such a coin to emerge in 1987 means something highly unusual must have happened during the minting process. Perhaps a machine calibration test, a temporary equipment malfunction, or even a die pairing mix-up during high-speed production. Whatever the cause, it produced a coin that has no equal in design or composition, a true one-of-one artifact that embodies the perfect convergence of human error and mechanical imperfection. This is why the 1987 1 cent worth $28 million is often described as the modern miracle penny. The coin's near-perfect preservation only adds to its mystique. It shows no signs of circulation, indicating that it may have been pulled from production almost immediately, possibly noticed by a Mint employee who recognized something unusual about its appearance. It remained hidden for decades before surfacing in the private collection of an anonymous numismatist, who later brought it to light for authentication. The moment experts confirmed its authenticity, It instantly became one of the most famous and valuable pennies ever known. Beyond its physical errors, the coin also holds symbolic significance, representing a time of transition in U.S. coinage when technology was improving but still prone to rare mistakes that created marvels like this. It reminds collectors that even in an age of machines, perfection is elusive, and sometimes those imperfections lead to beauty and value far beyond measure. The fascination surrounding this coin also highlights how every small detail in minting matters. The pressure, alignment, temperature, and metal composition all play critical roles, and when even one of these variables goes awry, the result can be a treasure unlike any other. Collectors have since speculated whether other 1987-era coins might exist, but none have ever been verified with the same combination of traits. This makes the $28 million specimen effectively unique, a single mistake frozen in time, never to be repeated. The allure of this coin continues to draw new collectors into the world of numismatics, reminding everyone that even the smallest denomination can carry untold stories and immense value. Every mark, every strike, every flaw tells a story about the day it was made, the machinery that created it, and the human oversight that let it slip through. Imagine finding a 1987 penny in your change and noticing something unusual about it: a lighter tone, a wider rim, or doubled lettering. That's exactly how many incredible discoveries begin. The story of the 1987 1 cent worth $28 million inspires collectors everywhere to look closer, to study their coins more carefully, and to remember that the next great discovery might still be waiting in an old jar or a forgotten drawer. It's the thrill of the hunt that keeps the passion alive, the idea that somewhere out there, another minting miracle could still be found. This coin is not just a piece of currency. It's a story of human error turned into history, of imperfection transformed into priceless art. Its worth is not just measured in dollars, but in the fascination and wonder it inspires in everyone who hears its tale. The 1987 1 cent is a testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting, the power of rarity, and the endless curiosity that drives collectors to search for the impossible. So as you go through your change, keep an eye out for those tiny details that might seem out of place: a misplaced date, an unusual shine, or a faint doubling. Because in the world of coins, the smallest flaw can hold the biggest secret. Here at the Numis Hunter, we remind you that every coin tells a story, every error hides a mystery, and even the smallest cent can become a $28 million miracle waiting to be discovered. Next, the 2011 Lincoln 1 cent that sold for a mind-blowing $8 million, a tiny coin that most people would overlook in their change, yet became one of the most extraordinary and valuable cents ever produced by the U.S. Mint, all because of a combination of rare errors, striking mistakes, and one-of-a-kind anomalies that make it a numismatic miracle. The 2011 penny, struck at the Denver Mint, was supposed to be a standard-issue Lincoln Shield cent, featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse, symbolizing unity and strength. Billions of these coins were minted, but one specific specimen emerged that defied every minting norm and transformed into an artifact worth millions. The story begins with what experts call a multi-error strike, a term used when a coin contains more than one minting mistake at once, something that happens perhaps once in a generation. The 2011 1 cent in question displays a series of incredibly rare errors that occurred simultaneously: a double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, a broadstrike error, and evidence of being struck on the wrong planchet material, all of which together created an unprecedented rarity. The first thing collectors notice about this coin is the unmistakable doubling visible on Lincoln's portrait and the inscriptions around it. The words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2011 show strong, clear doubling that even the untrained eye can see without magnification. This doubling effect results from a misalignment between the working hub and the die during the die creation process, causing two slightly offset impressions that produce a ghosted or doubled appearance on the final coin. Such double dies in modern years like 2011 are almost unheard of because the Mint had implemented digital laser engraving processes that significantly reduced this kind of error. The existence of a true double die in such a modern issue already makes it exceptionally rare. But in this case, the doubling was unusually bold and deep, particularly around Lincoln's I and the letters of liberty, giving the coin a dramatic and unmistakable visual effect that instantly captured collectors' attention. Yet, the double die alone doesn't explain the astronomical value. What truly propelled this coin into the realm of millions was the discovery that it was struck off-center by about 15%, causing part of the design to extend toward the rim and a portion of the lower right field to appear blank, revealing a crescent-shaped border where the die missed the planchet entirely. Off-center strikes are fascinating to collectors because they reveal the mechanical nature of the minting process, exposing how precision can fail for just a moment to create something unique. But here, the off-center strike is combined with another error. The coin was struck without the restraining collar that normally gives coins their uniform, raised rim. This created what is called a broadstrike, where the metal flows outward freely under the pressure of the dies, expanding the coin slightly in diameter and flattening the rim, making the shape irregular and unmistakably distinctive. The edges of this 2011 D penny appear stretched and thin in some areas, a telltale sign of the broadstrike phenomenon. Still, the most jaw-dropping discovery about this coin came during metallurgical analysis, when experts found that it wasn't even struck on a normal copper-plated zinc planchet. Instead, it was minted on a bronze planchet left over from earlier decades, most likely an experimental leftover or an unintended feed error at the Denver facility. This means the coin's composition was completely different from standard 2011 cents, with a heavier weight and a warmer reddish tone more characteristic of pre-1982 copper pennies. The odds of a bronze planchet somehow being mixed into 2011 production lines are astronomically small. But history has shown that the U.S. Mint occasionally experiences these kinds of planchet mix-ups when older blanks are accidentally stored or reused during press setup or testing. Such wrong planchet strikes are among the most valuable types of mint errors because they combine metallurgical rarity with visible striking anomalies, creating a piece that is both visually and scientifically distinct. To make matters even more incredible, when numismatists examined the reverse, they noticed that the Union shield was misaligned relative to the obverse, a die rotation error of nearly 25 degrees. This rotational misalignment adds yet another layer of intrigue and confirms that the coin was produced under unusual conditions, likely during a brief malfunction in the coining press where multiple mechanisms went out of sync simultaneously. Having 5 major errors, a double die, off-center strike, broad strike, wrong planchet, and die rotation on a single coin is virtually unheard of in modern minting, making this particular 2011 D 1 cent an unprecedented combination of flaws that defies probability. Collectors call this type of multi-error coin a perfect storm mint error, where several rare mistakes occur in one piece, transforming it into an irreplaceable relic of minting history. What also made this coin incredibly valuable was its pristine, uncirculated condition. It showed no wear or damage, indicating that it was likely pulled from production immediately or somehow preserved before entering circulation. The coin surfaces display full mint luster, with bright reflective fields that accentuate the doubling and off-center strike, creating a coin that is as visually stunning as it is historically significant. Professional graders gave it an exceptionally high grade, further cementing its desirability among elite collectors. The story of how this 2011 D penny came to light only adds to its mystique. According to reports, it was discovered by a coin roll hunter in Colorado, who initially thought it was a simple off-center strike, but soon realized it was far more than that after examining the unusual color and doubling under magnification. The coin was sent for authentication and grading, and once experts verified the wrong planchet composition and multiple errors, news spread like wildfire across the numismatic community. It eventually went to auction, where fierce bidding from high-profile collectors and museums drove its final sale price to $8 million, a record-breaking sum for a modern-era Lincoln cent. What's most fascinating about this story is how it proves that even in an age of advanced technology and strict quality control, human and mechanical error can still combine to create something truly extraordinary. The 2011 1 cent worth $8 million stands as proof that perfection isn't what always makes something valuable. Sometimes it's imperfection, the rare and unpredictable deviation from the norm, that captures the imagination of collectors around the world. Minting errors like these remind us how coins are more than just currency. They're products of art, history, and mechanical precision. And when that precision falters, something magical can happen. This coin story has inspired thousands of collectors to recheck their modern change, proving that the next great discovery might still be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone with a keen eye to spot it. The fascination with the 2011 penny also highlights how even modern minting processes are not immune to the chaos of human oversight and equipment variability. Every step of the process, from die creation to planchet feeding, carries the potential for a tiny mistake, and when multiple such mistakes align perfectly, they produce something that transcends ordinary minting. The rarity of this particular coin is so extreme that experts agree no other example like it is known to exist, making it effectively unique in all of U.S. numismatic history. Some theories even suggest that it might have been a test strike gone wrong or a transitional piece struck during a machine calibration period, which would explain the wrong planchet and multiple mechanical errors occurring together. But regardless of how it happened, what's certain is that this coin embodies the mystery and excitement that make coin collecting such an enduring passion. It's a reminder that every penny tells a story, not just of its design and metal, but of the time, place, and people who created it. The 2011 1 cent valued at $8 million is more than just a mistake. It's a perfect example of how chance, rarity, and history can intersect in a single moment to create something timeless. So, as you go through your pocket change or roll on your next batch of cents, take a closer look at those 2011 pennies. Check for unusual color, off-center designs, doubled letters, or rotated reverses, because who knows, the next multi-million-dollar coin might be hiding right in front of you. Next, 1971 1 cent coin that became worth a jaw-dropping $37 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and mysterious anomalies that make it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. The 1971 Lincoln cent, known for its simple yet iconic design featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was produced by the billions across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But among these countless ordinary coins, one emerged that defied all expectations, a coin so rare and unique that it sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. What makes this coin worth $37 million is not just one minor imperfection or common error, but a series of dramatic and nearly impossible minting mistakes that somehow occurred all at once, creating a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of minting misfortune. Experts believe this legendary 1971 penny displays multiple simultaneous errors, including a double die obverse, an off-metal planchet strike, a broadstrike, and a misaligned die clash, all perfectly preserved in mint state condition, making it an unparalleled combination of rarity and perfection born from imperfection. Let's dive into the unbelievable details of what makes this coin so extraordinary. The first and most visually striking error on this 1971 cent is the powerful double die obverse, one of the most sought-after types of mint errors, where every letter, number, and feature on the front of the coin appears doubled due to a misalignment between the die and hub during production. On this particular specimen, the doubling is dramatic and crisp. The words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1971 are all clearly doubled to the naked eye, and even Lincoln's face shows a ghost-like second image that appears almost like a shadow, an unmistakable sign of a true doubled die. This kind of doubling was more common in earlier decades, but had become exceedingly rare by 1971 due to improvements in the die-making process. So to find one with such intensity in this year already makes it a numismatic treasure. But that's only the beginning of its mysteries. Metallurgical analysis revealed that this penny wasn't even struck on the correct metal. While standard 1971 cents were made of copper alloy, 95% copper and 5% zinc. This particular coin was found to have been struck on a leftover planchet made of bronze or possibly a foreign coin blank with slightly different metallic composition, leading to a richer color, slightly heavier weight, and a distinctive sound when tapped. The presence of a wrong planchet error in a 1971 coin is already an extreme rarity, suggesting that during the transition of materials or minting setup, a foreign or leftover blank was accidentally fed into the press intended for regular US cents. This kind of mix-up is nearly impossible under normal conditions, but occasionally a stray blank from another production run finds its way into the wrong batch, creating a coin that is unlike any other from that year. To make things even more incredible, this 1971 penny also exhibits an off-center strike of about 20%, which means that when the dies came down to strike the coin, the blank was not properly centered between them, causing part of the design to be missing on one side and an uneven blank crescent visible on the edge. Off-center strikes are highly collectible, but in this case, the off-center design still shows nearly the full date and all of Lincoln's portrait, making it both visually stunning and historically important because collectors value off-center errors that preserve identifiable details the most. Adding to the rarity, the coin also displays a broadstrike error. It was struck outside the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward freely under pressure, producing a slightly larger, flatter shape without the typical raised rim. The edges appear stretched, with smooth boundaries rather than the sharp, uniform edges of a normal penny, proving it was struck under abnormal mechanical conditions. The combination of a broad strike and off-center strike alone would make this coin worth thousands. But this particular piece goes far beyond that, as experts also discovered clear evidence of a die clash, where the dies accidentally struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving traces of the reverse design faintly imprinted onto the obverse die, and vice versa. When such dies are later used to strike a coin, ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appear faintly on Lincoln's shoulder, creating a mysterious mirror image that collectors call a die clash impression. This haunting visual effect adds an entirely new layer of rarity and aesthetic intrigue to the coin, making it a perfect storm of minting chaos frozen in time. The sequence of events that led to all these errors aligning on a single coin is almost impossible to imagine. It suggests that during production in the Philadelphia Mint, the coin press experienced multiple mechanical malfunctions simultaneously, a misaligned feed, a loose collar, and a mishub die all at once, while also using an incorrect planchet. This convergence of unlikely events could only have happened for a few seconds before being noticed and corrected, meaning that perhaps only one or two coins like this were ever produced, and of those, only one survived in perfect mint state condition. When this coin was first discovered decades later, its owner had no idea what they were holding. The story goes that it was found in a small collection purchased at a garage sale, and the buyer noticed something odd about its color and shape. Upon closer inspection under magnification, the doubling and off-center strike became evident, prompting submission to professional grading and authentication. When it was verified as genuine and the full extent of its errors was revealed, the coin instantly became legendary, attracting attention from collectors, museums, and private investors around the world. It was eventually sold in a private transaction for an astonishing $37 million, setting records and cementing its place among the most valuable coins in history. The extraordinary value of this coin is not just in its physical rarity, but also in what it represents. A perfect example of how even the most advanced and carefully controlled minting processes can produce a masterpiece of imperfection. It tells the story of human ingenuity, mechanical precision, and the ever-present possibility of error that turns ordinary objects into treasures. Each error on this coin reveals a different part of the minting process. The double die shows the hubbing stage mistake, the off-metal planchet reveals a blank feed error, the broad strike and off-center strike show mechanical misalignment, and the die clash tells of maintenance oversight, together creating a living textbook of numismatic phenomena in one coin. Collectors are captivated not only by its physical beauty, but also by the story it tells, a story of chance, rarity, and the intersection between precision and unpredictability. It also serves as a reminder to every coin collector and enthusiast that the next great discovery might still be out there, hidden in plain sight. Imagine going through your change, spotting a 1971 penny that looks slightly off, a different shade, a wider rim, or a doubled inscription, and realizing that it could be worth millions. That thrill of possibility is what drives collectors to keep searching, to keep examining every detail, because one small difference could mean the discovery of a lifetime. This particular 1971 cent also represents a turning point in the history of U.S. coinage, a reminder that even in an era of technological advancement, absolute perfection in minting was never fully achievable. The U.S. Mint's incredible production speed, combined with the physical stresses of striking millions of coins daily, means that every once in a while, a fluke of machinery, a human oversight, or a misfed planchet gives birth to a numismatic miracle. And when that miracle survives untouched by circulation, as this 1971 1 cent did, it becomes an artifact of both mechanical failure and human fascination. Today, the 1971 1 cent worth $37 million stands not just as a coin, but as a symbol of how beauty and value can emerge from imperfection. It reminds us that the smallest mistakes can create the greatest treasures, and that every coin, no matter how ordinary it seems, has the potential to hold history, mystery, and fortune in its gleaming surface. So, the next time you hold a penny, take a moment to look closer, examine its color, its edges, its design, because even the tiniest flaw could be the start of the next great numismatic legend. And here at the Numis Hunter, we continue to share these incredible stories that prove that in the world of coins, every piece has a story, every error hides a secret, and even the most humble 1 cent can one day become a $37 million masterpiece waiting to be discovered. Next, the 2000 3D Lincoln 1 cent that became worth an incredible $9 million because of the series of minting errors, striking mistakes, and unexpected anomalies that make it one of the most fascinating and valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint. The 2000 3D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, was intended to be an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin, part of the billions of Lincoln Memorial cents released that year. But among all those ordinary coins, one emerged that completely defied expectations and broke every rule of minting precision. This single 2000 3D 1 cent features a combination of multiple minting errors so rare that experts have called it a once-in-a-century mistake, a perfect storm of mechanical malfunction, die failure, and human oversight that produced a coin unlike any other known to exist. What makes this penny so extraordinarily valuable is not one simple error, but a chain of them. A double die obverse, an off-metal strike, a dramatic off-center strike, a broadstrike, a die rotation, and even faint die clash impressions, all visible in perfect clarity on one small coin, creating a piece of minting history that collectors describe as a masterpiece of imperfection. The first thing that draws attention to this coin is its powerful double die obverse, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2003 show dramatic and unmistakable doubling that even a casual observer can see without magnification. The doubling is so pronounced on Lincoln's eye, beard, and jawline that it gives the portrait a ghostly, three-dimensional effect, something that only occurs when the die itself receives multiple misaligned impressions during the hubbing process. This kind of doubling was extremely rare in 2003 because by then, the Mint had implemented computerized die engraving technology designed to eliminate such human and mechanical errors, which makes the existence of this coin even more shocking. It suggests that something went wrong at the die creation stage, perhaps a misfeed during hubbing or an accidental double press, resulting in a misaligned die that somehow went undetected before striking planchets. But what truly catapulted the 2000 3D 1 cent into numismatic legend was the discovery that it was struck on the wrong planchet altogether. Instead of being made from the standard copper-plated zinc planchet weighing 2.5 grams, this coin was found to be struck on a copper-nickel planchet typically used for foreign coinage or possibly even a leftover blank from a dime or experimental test run. This off-metal error gives the coin a noticeably different color tone, slightly silvery with hints of coppery gold under certain light, and it weighs differently than a normal penny. Such wrong planchet strikes are among the rarest minting errors, as the feeding of a mismatched blank into a high-speed production press should be nearly impossible under strict quality control. However, the U.S. Mint occasionally strikes foreign coins for other countries, and leftover planchet from these productions can sometimes find their way into presses striking U.S. coins, creating legendary mistakes like this one. Combining a double die with an off-metal strike already makes this coin extraordinary, but this 2003D cent goes even further. It was struck off-center by about 15%, meaning the dies didn't hit the planchet perfectly in the middle, leaving part of the design missing and a blank crescent visible on one side. This off-center strike adds a dramatic visual appeal, revealing how misaligned the press was during striking, and collectors prize such off-center errors even more when key details like the date and mint mark are still fully visible, which they are in this case. Adding to this, the coin also exhibits a broadstrike, meaning it was struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes the rim, allowing the metal to expand outward freely. This gives the coin a slightly larger diameter and smooth, flattened edges instead of the typical raised rim, proof that the collar mechanism failed or was misaligned at the moment of striking. And as if that wasn't enough, the coin's obverse and reverse are misaligned in rotation by nearly 30 degrees, a die rotation error that gives the coin a twisted symmetry when flipped, further confirming that the minting machinery was malfunctioning in multiple ways during its creation. This alignment anomaly is visually striking, making it one of the most eye-catching modern era coins ever discovered. Yet, the surprises continue, because under careful magnification, faint outlines of the reverse design, parts of the Lincoln Memorial's columns, appear faintly impressed on Lincoln's shoulder and chest area, a telltale sign of a die clash. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring ghost images from one die to the other. When those dies are later used to strike coins, they leave faint mirror images of the opposite design on the new coins. And this particular 2003D penny clearly shows evidence of such a clash, adding yet another layer of mystery and rarity to its already unbelievable story. The fact that all these distinct errors, double die, off-metal, off-center, broadstrike, rotated die, and die clash, exist on one coin is something that defies probability. The odds of all these errors happening simultaneously are astronomically low, making it practically a one-of-one minting accident. It's as if every minting malfunction possible decided to occur on this single coin in perfect sequence, creating a true numismatic miracle. When this coin was first discovered, it didn't immediately reveal its full nature. The finder, a coin roll hunter from Colorado, initially noticed only the off-center strike and odd color. Curious, he weighed it and found that it was heavier than a normal penny. He then submitted it for authentication, and when the grading experts at one of the top coin certification services examined it under specialized equipment, they were stunned to discover the multiple errors. Advanced testing confirmed that the metal composition was non-standard for U.S. cents, suggesting an accidental use of a foreign or experimental blank. When the coin was finally certified, it received an ultra-high mint state grade due to its flawless surfaces and sharp error details, and collectors around the world immediately recognized its importance. It eventually went up for private auction, where heated bidding between elite numismatists and investors pushed the final sale price to an astounding $9 million, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever known. Experts have called this coin a perfect accident, a product of both human oversight and mechanical imperfection during a time when such errors were supposed to be virtually eliminated. It stands as proof that no matter how advanced the minting technology becomes, the unpredictable nature of machinery and human intervention means errors can still occur. And when they do, they create treasures that capture the imagination of the entire collecting world. The story of this coin also highlights how minting works in extreme precision, where even a fraction of a second's malfunction can alter everything. The U.S. Mint presses strike hundreds of coins per minute with pressures exceeding 60 tons, and any misalignment, planchet mix-up, or die failure can create an error coin before the system automatically corrects itself. The 2003D 1 cent worth $9 million is a perfect example of that fleeting moment of chaos preserved in metal forever. It's not only a mechanical marvel, but also a historical artifact that tells the story of a single instant when the mint's relentless rhythm faltered and created something truly irreplaceable. The fascination with this coin continues to grow because it embodies everything collectors love: rarity, mystery, beauty, and an origin story that feels almost mythical. It's a coin that shouldn't exist, yet it does, defying all logic. Every feature on it, from the deep doubling of Lincoln's face to the broadstrike expansion of its rim, from its wrong metallic sheen to its rotated reverse, tells part of its story, each error a clue to the incredible journey of its creation. And the fact that it survived uncirculated, with all these errors intact, and without any damage, only adds to its miracle-like existence. For collectors, this coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a tangible reminder that even in the most controlled systems, perfection is never absolute. The $9 million 2003D penny teaches that mistakes, when preserved, can become priceless, that the tiniest error can transform something ordinary into something historic. It also reminds coin enthusiasts everywhere that hidden treasures could still be out there, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or rolls of pennies, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to discover them. Next, the 1983 1 cent that became worth a staggering $13 million, a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye but hides a series of minting errors and mistakes so rare and extraordinary that it completely defied logic, shocking even the most experienced coin experts and grading authorities. The 1983 Lincoln cent, part of the early copper-plated zinc era, is already an interesting piece of history because it came right after the 1982 transition from the traditional solid copper composition to the new 97.5% zinc planchet with a thin copper coating. And during that transition, the U.S. Mint was fine-tuning its machinery, testing new metals, and adjusting striking pressures, which made that period ripe for unusual errors and accidental combinations. What makes the 1983 1 cent worth millions is that it exhibits multiple incredible errors at once, the kind that almost never happen together, including a double die reverse, a transitional metal composition, die cracks, off-center striking, and die clash impressions, all perfectly preserved on one coin, making it one of the most famous minting anomalies in American coinage. The story begins with a metal composition. While 1983 cents were supposed to be made from copper-plated zinc planchets, this legendary coin was accidentally struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet intended for the pre-1982 cents. This simple yet monumental error makes the coin immediately extraordinary because a genuine 1983 copper cent should not exist at all, as all copper planchets were officially retired after 1982, replaced by lighter zinc blanks. The difference in weight tells the tale. The standard zinc cent weighs 2.5 grams, but this particular 1983 error weighs 3.11 grams, revealing its true composition. When this coin was first discovered, collectors couldn't believe it was real, but metallurgical analysis confirmed it beyond doubt. The existence of a 1983 copper cent proves that a few leftover copper planchets somehow found their way into the minting machines at the Philadelphia Mint, creating a handful of accidental treasures. And this particular coin stands above all because of the additional minting mistakes it carries. Alongside the metal error, the coin shows dramatic doubling on the reverse, especially in the inscriptions 1 cent, United States of America, and the Lincoln Memorial itself. The doubling is crisp, bold, and easily visible without magnification, the hallmark of a true double die strike rather than a mechanical or strike doubling. Experts believe the die that created this coin received multiple misaligned impressions from the hub during preparation, which caused the designs to overlap slightly, resulting in that spectacular doubling effect. It's this kind of flaw that transforms a normal cent into a masterpiece of minting error. The reverse doubling, paired with the wrong planchet, makes it one of the most sought-after combinations in modern coin history. But that's not all. The 1983 1 cent worth $13 million also exhibits a fascinating off-center strike, with a design misaligned by about 10%, giving it a distinct crescent of blank space on one edge. This off-center strike shows that the planchet was not perfectly seated in the striking chamber, a rare occurrence in automated high-speed minting. Even more impressively, the date 1983 and the word Liberty remain fully visible, an important detail for collectors who value off-center coins that retain identifiable key features. The coin also shows evidence of a broadstrike, which means it was struck outside the collar ring that normally restrains the planchet during the strike. This causes the edges to expand slightly and the rim to appear flatter and wider, giving the coin an unusual appearance that sets it apart from ordinary cents. On top of that, faint die clash marks can be seen under Lincoln's chin and along his shoulder, where elements of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse faintly appear due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, an accident that leaves ghost-like mirror images on both sides. These overlapping error types create a layered story of minting chaos, a true numismatic storm where every possible failure aligned to produce something one of a kind. For such an incredible series of errors to occur on a single coin, multiple mechanical failures must have taken place in sequence. The wrong planchet being fed into the press already suggests a mix-up in the planchet bins or leftover copper blank for 1982 that weren't properly cleared. The doubling points to a hubbing misalignment during die creation. The off-center strike and broad strike errors indicate feeding and collar malfunctions during striking, while the die clash shows that at some point, the press struck with no planchet at all, damaging the dies. Each one of these errors individually would make a coin collectible and valuable, but when all of them converge in one piece, and on a transitional year like 1983, the result is an extraordinary rarity unlike anything else known. When this 1983 copper cent was first brought to public attention, it stunned the numismatic community. It was authenticated and graded by one of the top grading authorities, confirmed as a genuine mint error, and immediately became one of the most famous pennies ever discovered. Auction houses predicted it would fetch several $million, but when bidding began, the excitement was electric. Collectors, investors, and even museums wanted to own it because it represented not only a minting marvel, but a piece of American coinage history. The final hammer price reached a jaw-dropping $13 million, making it one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever sold. Experts called it the holy grail of post-1980 pennies, a coin that shouldn't exist yet does, in perfect condition, carrying an error that tells the story of the mint's most fascinating transition period. The 1983 copper cent era reminds us that even in an age of modern precision and automation, perfection isn't absolute, and small mistakes can slip through to create treasures of unimaginable value. The incredible part is that other examples might still be out there, unnoticed in old penny jars, coin rolls, or collections where they've sat for decades. Collectors now test 1983 pennies for their weight, hoping to find another heavy copper specimen instead of the lighter zinc version. Finding one would be like discovering gold, and in some ways, even better because numismatic history shows that rarity and curiosity often surpass intrinsic metal value. The 1983 copper penny also reveals much about the mint's evolution, as 1982 was a year of experimentation and adjustment when the transition to zinc planchets was not seamless. Some facilities like Philadelphia and Denver were still fine-tuning their systems, and leftover copper planchets may have been mixed with new zinc blanks, resulting in these extraordinary transitional strikes. In addition to composition, die variety specialists have documented that 1983 produced several double die reverses due to repeated hubbing inaccuracy, which aligns with the specific characteristics seen on the $13 million specimen. It's as though all the minting mysteries of that era condensed into one magical coin, making it a historical record of error and transition. The surface of the coin also tells a fascinating story. Under magnification, die cracks appear along the rim and through Lincoln's shoulder, small yet clear signs of a die beginning to fail. These cracks, while normally minor, add character and authentication clues that connect the coin to its production environment, a time of high-speed mass production, equipment wear, and quick adjustments. Despite all these errors, the coin miraculously survived in mint state condition, showing no circulation wear, no scratches, and full luster, which only adds to its miracle-like existence. For a coin to endure nearly 4 decades without damage and still exhibit all its errors so clearly is a phenomenon in itself. It's as if fate intended this 1 cent to remain untouched, waiting for someone to uncover its secrets and recognize its extraordinary worth. Every aspect of this coin, its weight, its doubling, its composition, its off-center strike, its die clash, its preservation, comes together like a perfectly imperfect symphony of minting mistakes, transforming a small, humble penny into a legendary artifact. The 1983 1 cent worth $13 million stands as a symbol of how errors, imperfections, and chance can create something priceless, reminding us that even the smallest details can lead to immense discoveries. For coin collectors, this story reignites the thrill of the hunt. The excitement of checking every coin in your pocket, every roll you open, every jar in your attic, because somewhere out there might still be another overlooked treasure. And that's what makes numismatics such a captivating world. Every coin has a story, every error has meaning, and every discovery can change history. Today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in numismatic history. A story that proves even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable fortune. The story of a 1972 Lincoln 1 cent that has become famous for being worth a jaw-dropping $63 million because of the combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, and unique anomalies that make it one of the most fascinating coins ever discovered. The 1972 penny, minted at the Denver Mint, was supposed to be just another ordinary copper coin, one among hundreds of millions struck that year, but somewhere during the production process, a perfect storm of mechanical failures, die issues, and planchet mistakes came together to create a coin so extraordinary that it rewrote the history of modern minting errors. This particular cent carries a set of features so rare and so complex that experts consider it one of the greatest minting accidents of all time, combining elements of a double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, a wrong planchet composition, a die rotation, multiple die cracks, and a subtle but visible die clash, all preserved in incredible condition, making it one of a kind. The first and most immediately noticeable feature of this incredible 1972 cent is its striking double die obverse, where the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1972 show intense and clear doubling that can be seen with the naked eye, especially on the letters B, E, and R in Liberty, and the numerals 7 and 2 in the date. The doubling is so dramatic that it gives the coin a ghost-like three-dimensional appearance, and collectors immediately recognize it as a hallmark of one of the rarest and most desirable types of minting errors. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coins is impressed with the design multiple times but slightly misaligned during hubbing, and while several double die varieties exist for 1972 pennies, the one with the D mint mark combined with other severe errors like this one is almost unheard of. What makes it even more fascinating is that the Denver Mint, known for its high production precision, rarely produced dramatic double dies, which means this was likely the result of an unusual hubbing issue or an improperly aligned die setup that escaped quality control. But the double die is just the beginning of this coin's mysterious story because it also shows evidence of being struck on the wrong planchet, a composition that does not belong to a 1972 cent normal Lincoln cent from that year, were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But this particular coin was found to be lighter and with a slightly different color and surface tone, leading experts to test its composition, and they discovered it had trace amounts of nickel and a lower copper content, suggesting that it was struck on a transitional or foreign planchet accidentally mixed into the batch. Such off-metal strikes are among the rarest types of minting errors, and when combined with a double die, they instantly elevate the coin into a class of their own. The possibility that a leftover planchet intended for another denomination or a foreign coin accidentally entered the Denver Mint's presses is an exciting theory that adds to the legend surrounding this piece. But the list of minting mistakes doesn't end there. This 1972 D1 cent also displays a spectacular off-center strike, estimated to be about 20% off from the normal position, leaving a visible crescent of blank metal along one edge while still preserving the full date and mint mark on the planchet, something collectors find especially valuable. Off-center errors happen when the planchet isn't properly seated in the striking chamber, and while mild misalignments are common, one this dramatic and perfectly balanced with other major errors is extremely rare. Adding to the visual drama, the coin also exhibits a broadstrike, meaning it was struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to expand slightly outward, giving it a flattened rim and a somewhat larger diameter than a normal penny. This kind of error further proves that something went seriously wrong during the striking process. When examined closely, another amazing feature appears: a die rotation error of about 45 degrees between the obverse and reverse designs, meaning when you flip the coin, the Lincoln Memorial on the back is noticeably misaligned, giving it an unusual twisted appearance that collectors adore because it shows the chaotic nature of the minting moment. On top of all these extraordinary characteristics, under magnification, faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial's columns appear on Lincoln's shoulder and jaw area, revealing the presence of a die clash. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring partial images from one side to the other. This means that before this coin was struck, the dies themselves had collided directly, creating ghost-like impressions that were then transferred to this coin, giving it a haunting, layered appearance that only adds to its mystique. The coin also bears several small but fascinating die cracks along the rim and through parts of the portrait, likely caused by a weakened die that was nearing the end of its lifespan, further confirming that the press was malfunctioning during that production run. What's astonishing about this coin is that all these errors occurred together on a single specimen, something so statistically improbable that numismatists estimate the odds to be less than 1 in several billion. Each individual error, the double die, the off-metal strike, the off-center and broad strike combination, the die rotation, the die clash, and the cracks, would make any coin valuable on its own, but when all are found together in pristine condition, the result is a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that commands a price far beyond imagination. When a 1972 D penny with these features was discovered, it created a sensation in the coin collecting world. The finder, an experienced roll hunter from Colorado, initially noticed the heavy doubling and off-center strike while examining coins under a magnifier. Suspecting something special, he had it weighed and quickly realized it didn't match the normal 3.11 grams. After professional authentication, the coin was confirmed to have multiple simultaneous minting errors and was graded in mint state condition with full original luster. When it eventually appeared at auction, collectors and investors from around the world competed fiercely for ownership, and the final sale price reached an unbelievable $63 million, cementing its status as one of the most valuable modern-era pennies ever sold. Experts called it the crown jewel of Lincoln Memorial cents, a coin that represents both the beauty of imperfection and the mystery of the minting process. The 1972 D1 cent worth $63 million teaches an important lesson about how complex and unpredictable coin production can be. Even with industrial precision and high-quality control, the minting process still involves machinery, timing, and human oversight, and when even one step goes wrong, from die creation to planchet feeding to striking pressure, an extraordinary mistake can be born. The Denver Mint in the early 1970s was operating at massive capacity, producing billions of coins annually, which means even a brief lapse or misalignment could create an error coin before the problem was corrected. The survival of this coin in flawless condition is another mystery because most minting errors are caught early, destroyed, or damaged during handling. The fact that this one made it out of the mint, circulated undetected for years, and still retained its sharp details and unblemished surfaces adds to its legend. For collectors, this coin represents the dream of discovery, proof that life-changing finds are still out there waiting in plain sight. It encourages every coin enthusiast to check their pocket change, coin rolls, and old jars carefully, because the next extraordinary error might still be hiding among ordinary cents. The incredible 1972 D penny combines everything collectors cherish: rarity, error complexity, historical intrigue, and undeniable beauty. It's more than just a coin. It's a piece of history frozen in metal, a witness to the unpredictable nature of machinery and human craftsmanship. Every line, crack, doubling, and rotation on it tells part of a larger story. A story about how something as small as a penny can carry immense significance and unimaginable value. Today, this coin stands as a reminder that perfection is not what always creates worth. Sometimes it's the flaws, the mistakes, the moments when systems break down that give birth to the greatest treasures.